of matches, because next up it's Albin Ouschan and Mieszko Fortunski. Carl Boys back alongside me for this one. And Carl, what is going on with Albin Ouschan here? I mean, that was an extraordinary match. Dreadful misses and unexpected errors on both sides, but bottom line is it's much easier to put those things out of your mind when you win. For Ouschan, he's lost again. It's becoming a real habit.
Yes, of course. Now we're in phase 2 of this year's tournament, where you're going to be playing not only the best pool players in the world, but the best players of this week so far. So he's in a little spot, but he's got bags of experience, Michael.
Just before they start, let's have a look on the other table. Seen so many golden breaks this week. Look how much distance this 9-ball travelled, eventually finding its way all the way back around the table and just drops in at the last for Omar Al-Shaheen. He's 4-2 down, as I was saying, against Skylar Woodward, but he's just missed an absolute sitter of a 3 in the next rack.
Thanks. It's the first rack.
Here we go then. Mieszko Fortunski is going to be heading home at the end of today. Can't do anything about his own prospects in this tournament now. They've come to an end, but he can inflict further damage on Albin Ouschan's chances, as so many other players have done over the last couple of days.
Yet again, the Fortunski break parks the cue ball in the centre. Did get flicked up table, and this is what he's faced with. He's got a pretty nice safety shot to start his account. Don't think he can play a bang. Over on table 2, Mr. Woodward is on the hill. He has got 3 balls remaining. That would be to pick up a valuable point again, Michael.
He just can't stop, can he? Since Friday morning. This is going to be 10 wins out of 11.
Extension, please.
Albin's having a good look at this 1 ball, so it's clearly very tight. If he feels like it would go off the left side of the pocket, he's going to be very tempted in the pot. Skylar Woodward finishes that match off. 5-2 win over Omar Al-Shaheen, as Albin sends the 1 into the 7, but he's going to get the second best. He's been at this all week. I'm not saying this always happens, but he's missed a lot of balls this week and often finds cover somehow.
So let's just take a moment to look at the implications of that Skylar Woodward result. We now have 3 players on 15, which we've been saying is, we think, the target. Shaw, Filler and Woodward. There's not even much between them now in racks difference. Shaw plus 27, Filler plus 22, Woodward plus 21. He's got 2 matches left to play. The other 2 have got 3 matches left. And of course, it's all very well having the matches in hand, but you've got to win them. And if you lose them, of course, you can adversely affect your racks difference. So it can be a curse having more matches to play, as much as it can be a blessing in a situation like this. And a bit of a gap now forming between those 3 and the rest, because you then have Van Boning, Al-Kaidi, Ouschan and Kazakis all on 13. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz on 12. So there's a gap of 2 now between the top 3 and the rest of the field.
Yeah, Albin Ouschan started this rack off with a nice jump shot. He will know the importance of this match.
He's only won 3 out of 11 since that incredible run of 10 wins in a row to start. We were talking at that stage about the possibility of him completing the perfect 15. You look now and think if he had managed to do it, wouldn't have mattered in one sense what he did in the second phase.
Well, as he hooked himself behind the 8, or as he got away with it. Well, he's playing a little swerve shot, so poor positional shot from Albin.
10 seconds.
Well recovered. Keeps himself at the table.
It looks like a 5-way battle for 3 places. Ouschan's biggest battle at the moment seems to be with himself. Partly through his own doing. It's been a frustrating day for him so far. It's been a frustrating few days, really. When you're in that frame of mind, shots like this can just be a little tester. But one way or another, that's job done. Albin Ouschan taking the scenic route to a 1-0 lead. Hard to keep up with everything that's going on. We've just started another match on the other table between Shane Van Boning and Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. And you can see Van Boning there on 13 wins. He needs a big finish. He's got 3 to go, including that one. Been a mixed start to the day for him. He was flying against Alex Kazakis and won 5-0. Then a real big surprise as he lost to Omar Al-Shaheen, who's heading out of the tournament today. So Van Boning, you would think, has got to win 2 of his last 3 to feel comfortable. Look how tight it is on the racks difference between those top 3. And it's all going to count tomorrow evening when we come to the end of the round robin section of phase 3. Remember, everything carries forward. Just look at the numbers there in the racks won and racks lost column. Really underlines just how much pool they've all been playing. How do you see it now, Carl?
Well, good question. I think the biggest surprise is Albin Ouschan's little blip. Obviously still in the hunt. Big matches involved with on table 1. Joshua Filler, Jason Shaw, the 2 lefties. This is going to be an exciting finish.
Yeah, and you have to say at one stage yesterday it was looking like it might not be, because there were different pockets developing. There were some players who really looked like they were heading out. There were a few others who looked to be battling for not many places, and there were quite a few who you thought, yeah, they'll be absolutely fine, the position they were in. But as things have developed since round about lunchtime yesterday, feels like it's just been constantly changing, which it has. Players who might have been letting their minds drift forward a bit to being involved in the final day are now not feeling so secure at all. Such a slog, this tournament, the amount of matches you have to play, but it gives so much time for all sorts of narratives to develop and then swing the other way and then swing back again.
So he's bringing the cue ball down towards this cluster of balls for cover, and he will be happy with that.
Extension, please.
Not the desired result at all, Carl.
No, it wasn't easy. But Albin will be delighted to have an easy opening shot. Now, where the pink 4 and the purple 5 is, we'll get another look at that in a moment and just kind of assess. Yeah, the pink 4 is okay because it goes in both bottom corners. The 5 ball, well, if he needs this cue ball to slow down, well, he can't do it anymore. 5 ball will go in the bottom left, but that's no good because of where the 7 ball is, unless he lands low. So we'll see. It's all about the position he gets on this pink 4.
Quickly, news from the other table. Shane Van Boening against Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. The American has won the opening rack. Sanchez Ruiz wins that, he could potentially go ahead of Van Boening in the table.
Extension.
So much has happened. It seems a really long time since Francisco won 4 in a row at the start of yesterday.
Yeah, he's played to knock it out and he's played a nice shot there. Couldn't have landed any better.
Yeah, and this rack, just what Ouschan needed. Seemed to lose his head just a bit in the previous match at times. But he's looked very calm and focused. In the early stages here, Albin Ouschan then 2-0 up on Mieszko Fortunski.
Yeah, he's got to use all his experience here because, as you said before, Michael, to win the first 10 points from his first 10 matches and to be sat on 13 points from his next 11 matches, well, that's pretty incredible. We would never have predicted this, so he's found himself in a little tricky situation, but a good win here on table 1 would restore some faith. So this is SVB against FSR. This is on table 2.
Yeah, but it's by no means the initial stages of phase 2. Every match so important now, and if Sanchez Ruiz misses out, I think he might just reflect on last night. He had so much momentum going after winning his first 4 matches, as I said. A sequence which he finished with a golden break to round off his 5-1 win over Omar Al Shaheen, and then he had a bit of a wait until he came back out for the evening session, and he couldn't keep that winning momentum going. He only won 3 racks across his 2 matches against Kazakis and Shaw. You look at it and think if he'd won even one of those matches, his whole situation would have been different. But he's still in there fighting. And this is the first of 3 matches for the Spaniard on this second and final day of phase 2.
It's the third rack.
So that was a nice bank shot from SVB. Back to table 1. Fortunski to break. Just pay attention to the cue ball here. Let's have a look. Seems very consistent at stopping it around the centre of the table. That is no mean feat. Don't let me down now. Yeah, he's done well. Whenever you don't find a rail off that break, yeah, I know he's not dead in the centre, but he's still around that centre line mark, isn't he? Across the side pockets.
We saw it spin about 1 million rotations, pretty much dead centre, and then just drifted over to the side. So, yeah, he didn't let you down, Carl. I think it was you was comparing him to Shane Van Boning in the breaking stakes. Well, no greater praise. And he's got his reward here. This is a wonderful opportunity.
One thing I've noticed, probably along with yourself, Michael, is all the players are getting on real nice around the two practice tables. Everyone's kind of hanging around there, practicing, laughing, joking, making a little fun at each other, talking about shots. I was with Shane and actually Francisco just before this match, and Shane was still fuming from a shot that Francisco played on him at the Derby City Classic Nineball.
Well, they got plenty to talk about amongst themselves, even from the matches they've played here. And yeah, recent tournaments as well coming under discussion. Jason Shaw there shouting quips at everyone who walks past that practice area. It's great fun, and it's wonderful to see them all getting on so well. It's that sort of event, isn't it? We saw it at the Championship League last year. It's very sociable. You finish your match, you've probably got another one pretty soon after that, so people aren't generally spending much time going back to their rooms or going out for a bite to eat or whatever. Really nice atmosphere down by those practice tables. Serious business, though, when they get out there. Mieszko Fortunski, one of those two players who know they're heading out. Still seems to be putting in maximum effort. He just wants to get as much experience as he can of beating these top players. All helps going forward in a busy year ahead. And he's won the third rack. Fortunski closes to 2-1 down.
Fourth rack. Ouschan to break.
Final day drama, plenty, and lots more surely to come at the conclusion of phase 2. They're all jockeying for places in the final day of the whole thing tomorrow. Albin Ouschan 2-1 up. He really needs a win to get back on track. What he doesn't need is a scratch.
Yeah, if he goes on to win this match, you kind of just get that feeling he's going to be put through the pain like this, the cue ball parks, and it gets kicked in the side pocket. Nothing worse when a pool player breaks off and a random ball kicks it in a pocket.
Shane Van Boning now 3-0 up against Francisco Sanchez Ruiz on the other table. Looking to bounce back from his surprise defeat to Omar Al Shaheen earlier today. Completed a mixed start to the morning for Van Boning. Looked really good in whitewashing Alex Kazakis. I was saying this tournament gives you the time for so many narratives to develop, and one of the big stories, Carl, has been the decline of Albin Ouschan from that great start that he made, winning his first 10 matches. So what have you seen in him that might explain the way his fortunes have turned around so negatively?
Well, that's a good question. I think he's always guilty of looking a little bit despondent, but, you know, this group format, he's up against the likes of Shane, Joshua, David. It's not going to be easy, and I think it's just the fact that he's gone on this little run of losing so many matches. I think he just needs that win. He's just desperate for that point. Get himself back in the motion, and it can soon switch back round. But he does seek perfection, and he was on 10 out of 10 at one point. So that is not going to bode well in the brain of Albin Ouschan.
I think the key word there is perfection, and he really does have all the hallmarks and characteristics of a true perfectionist. Just the fact that he lost that one match, perfection was out the window then, and he seemed to be beating himself up about it ever since. He's had some bad running at times, that's fair to say, but largely it's been down to him. Having led 2-0, could find himself level pegging in the next 90 seconds or so.
Playing for the 6 in the left centre, and this looks fine. Good shot.
Well, the scratch will have done nothing to improve Ouschan's state of mind, and what followed applies even more so. So from 2-0 down, Mieszko Fortunski makes it 2 each. Now, would you like to win a signed cue? Signed by all 10 of the players who've made stage 2, so we're talking many of the world's very best 9-ball players here. Well, you can, if you can give us the answer to this question. Who got the winning point for Europe when they successfully defended the Mosconi Cup at Alexandra Palace in London just before Christmas? Message your answers to Matchroom Pool on Facebook or at Matchroom Pool on Twitter. You have until the end of the 4th match on Table 1 tonight. We'll tell you the answer and our winner in the evening session. So the question again, who clinched the winning point for Europe in the Mosconi Cup last December at Alexandra Palace? Matchroom Pool on Facebook or at Matchroom Pool on Twitter. Saw Carl reaching for his phone there. You're not allowed to enter, Carl. You don't need a new cue anyway. You're refusing to play, so what would you need a cue for?
Oh, I was just on Google.
(3-1) now on the other table. Yes, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz has just won the 4th rack against Shane Van Boning. Big match for both of them. Van Boning on 13, Sanchez Ruiz on 12. You would think Sanchez Ruiz, in all likelihood, will have to win his 3 remaining matches, starting with that one.
The 5th break. Score is 2 each. Mieszko
Fortunski could win all his remaining matches, and it's not going to make any difference now. But He's putting it up to Albin Ouschan here. 2-all.
Another break, another cue ball in the centre of the table. So consistent at doing that, he really is.
So what's the key to that, Carl? How do you do that?
Well, you just got to practice a lot, to be honest, but you kind of got to hit around just above centre, centre-ish. But then it all depends on how much pace you put on the cue ball. It's all about timing, years and years of practice. It is a tough shot, but you can see there just where the cue ball is. In theory, if the cue ball's in the centre of the table, you can see all around the table, can't you? And he's got a bank shot here to open up this rack. Oh, and he's made it, but where's the cue ball? The cue ball's got in the same pocket. That is a little unfortunate, but that is good news for Albin Ouschan fans.
Such good news. That scratch could very well be the difference between losing his third rack in a row and regaining the lead instead. I think this chance just falls into the gift category. Just what Ouschan needed, the way things are going. He's really under it here. As much as anything, it would be a humiliation for him as world champion and world #1 if he couldn't make it through to the final day from the position he was in, having won his first 10 matches.
Yeah, and after this match, he'll have 2 matches left. And his first match will be tonight, and it will be against Joshua Filler.
Well, if that's not worth cancelling all your Sunday evening plans for, I don't know what is. It's a real thriller between them in the first phase.
Just landed a little bit awkward as Albin. He's played a poor positional shot there. If he'd have left the cue ball near the rail, he'd have had a nice angle. Now he's got to pound this ball in. Yeah, he's managed to get over, but these can go wrong. You can often find yourself leaving yourself that tricky little 9-ball when the balls are like this. He's got to really kill the cue ball nicely, hold it for the 9, or he can squirt over to the opposite side. Oh, he's killed it well. Nice shot.
This is the thing. At times he looks pretty serene, and other times he looks like everything's going against him. But that rack certainly went in his favour. He was thrown a bit of a lifeline by the misfortune of Fortunski. Ouschan back into the lead at 3-2. Next door, Shane Van Boning, 3-1 up on Francisco Sanchez-Ruiz. Remember, if Sanchez-Ruiz loses this, best he can get to is 14. And we're talking about 15 as the target. 3 players already there. Can change, of course, during the day. We saw that in phase 1. Started off thinking 5 wins would get you through. Turned out you needed 7 to be sure. Lucius Yap got 6 and it wasn't enough.
That was a nice pot. They're nasty little shots when you're behind the shot where Sanchez was. It's so easy to hit that shot thick and miss it by a few inches, and he needs another good one here on the 3-ball. He's going to play it into the bottom right. He's a favourite to make it. He's going to be on the 5-ball. So it looks like he's going to pull to 1 behind SVB. You can just sense it from the players out in the arena that you can tell that they know the importance of every point now. Maybe it didn't have that feel at the beginning of the week, but it certainly does now.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's turned out being much tighter than any of us would have expected. And the thing is, if you do get through, obviously that's the priority, but you can't really be starting the day with too much ground to make up, because Players will only have 5 matches in the round-robin section of the next phase. You don't want to leave yourself needing to win all of them against this quality of opposition. People didn't know how the format was going to play out. I think it's been an absolute winner so far, Carl.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Michael. I think the fact that, you know, many people may have thought after stage 1, as we enter stage 2, it was like a restart and everyone would start off scratch, no points. But the fact that you keep your points, well, that has made it real interesting, hasn't it?
And Francisco Sanchez-Ruiz has certainly made it interesting, now that we've seen him level at 3-all on the other table. He's already beaten Shane Van Bonen once in this tournament. On Thursday night, he beat him 5-3.
By 3 racks to 2.
So Ouschan has regained the lead.
Albin, good break as well there. You see the cue ball, the 1 stays over the pocket. He's desperate looking at that red 3 ball. That's what he's looking at, because it was going close to the 8. That's going to be his next ball after potting this one. One thing I've noticed today is I think the referees have paid more attention to the rack. You can see the 9-ball. That's where it should stay, really, if it never gets kicked in that place where the triangle would go. Whenever the ball is over the pocket, it can always be a little bit awkward for position. And the 8 ball, depending on where he lands the cue ball after this shot, could make life a little difficult for the positional shot to get on the pink 4. Thinking a couple of shots ahead, but that's how the pool player's brain works. Now this is the problem. Can he get enough spin into the cue ball to get it back up for the 4? This is awkward. This is real awkward. The cross bank. If he played the cross bank into the corner, he could easily get up. And he's getting down quick. Yeah, you see how he's bumped the 8? That meant he couldn't get up. So he's took his medicine. He's took what the table has allowed him. He's not took any risks.
What he has taken is his extension. Just underlines what a significant moment this could be.
Needs to play this with a little right-hand English, because if he pots this 4-ball, centre ball striking, the cue ball would come towards the 9. So he needs to play it with a little right-hand English. Needs a little look. And I don't think that is great. He might have to play this in the left centre. So he's playing this in the left centre. He's striking down on the cue ball. Oh, nice shot. He would have felt some pressure on that one.
Yeah, he's rediscovering things towards the end of the match. Playing some very nice shots. And as you say, responding very well to the growing pressure. And just to clarify, we saw the graphic come up 3-3 between Van Bonen and Sanchez-Ruiz on the other table. So that was incorrect. It is actually 3-2 still in Van Bonen's favour.
Yeah, he's got to play the 7 in the bottom left corner. You've got to stay away from the middle here. Playing it into the corner offers a bigger pocket. And he can roll through off one rail and play the 8 in the opposite corner. He's took these well. It wasn't the easiest to finish, and he's under severe pressure.
Yeah, and all the mishaps, many of them self-inflicted, as I say, that have gone on for him this morning. But just dent his confidence a little bit. even for a player of his quality. And he's showing his quality now. Albin Ouschan, 2 clear once more at 4-2. Mieszko Fortunski has been winning high praise for his breaking, but Albin Ouschan would love him to just throw in a loose one here. Ouschan on the hill.
Oh, he had a shot on the 1 ball, and then the 5 ball come down, knocked it into its position now, and he's going to have to play a push out to the delight of Albin.
Yeah, worth mentioning that the position he's got himself into could be a big difference between Ouschan finishing it out here and having to go on a bit longer. Obviously, the key thing is to get the point for the win. But the rack's difference is not only becoming more and more significant, but becoming more and more tight. You look at the 4 players on 13 wins. There's only 5 between first and last of them in terms of their current rack's difference.
10 seconds.
Extension, please.
This is an awkward push, because he can't push anywhere to sort of leave a shot at the 1 ball to play safe, because it's hidden so much behind them 2 balls. So maybe he's going to push somewhere into a kick, but then he's got to be careful because you can't leave an easy kick.
10 seconds.
I think he's kicking himself, is it? I didn't hear him say push. Yeah, he's kicked himself. Oh, it's gone wrong. Maybe a little eager there, but...
The only good news from out of that shot is the awkward queuing over the 8. But when you look at where the 2 is, Ouschan doesn't exactly have to be pinpoint positionally.
10 seconds.
Over on table 2, SVB has just got himself on the hill. He leads Francisco Sanchez Ruiz 4 racks to 2.
Yeah, and despite his surprise defeat to Omar Al-Shaheen, if he wins that one, he'll have taken 2 points out of 3 this morning, and I think he would have probably settled for that.
Yeah, Omar Al-Shaheen, he's going to be a bit of a spoiler coming into tonight's play. He's got to play Al-Qaidi and Ouschan, along with Joshua Fuller.
10 seconds.
It's funny, really, because the players who are going to play the likes of Omar, where they know he can't qualify, they know that backstage. It's already been spoke about.
We've talked so much about Van Boning not getting the look with the break. Well, it's applied again in rack 7. He's on the hill at 4-2 up, as we said, against Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, but he's just scratched. Kicked in by the 3.
Albin's just landed a little shy of pace, but that was understandable because he knew if he overhit the shot, the 9 was going to
Extension called.
hook himself, so he purposely made sure he landed short. Now he's going to have to dig into the cue ball here, probably play it off. Certainly 2 rails, but if you can pop this plain ball and the cue ball goes below the middle, he'll play 3 rails. Yeah, so that's 1, 2, 3. Needs it to slow down. He's okay. He's perfect, in fact.
Led 2-0 in this match. Got pegged back to 2-2. Fortunski completing his recovery to draw level after Ouschan had scratched off the break in rack 4. But a vital win. So much needed for Albin Ouschan. It gets him to 14. And at last, he's closing in on qualification for the final day. Albin Ouschan then defeats Mieszko Fortunski by 5 racks to 2. Just 1 match to go in the early session on table 1. It's Alexander Kazakis against Jason Shaw. That's next.